Good morning to all of you and welcome to the session, the Hindu Editorial Analysis for Proficiency in English. Let us start the session with a nice quote. What is today's quote? Stay positive. Better days are on their way. Stay positive all the time. Be optimistic. Always tell yourself better days are on their way. Very useful quote while preparing for competitive exams. Any apprehensions you can keep aside and tell yourself better days are going to come sooner or later. Coming to the editorial, what is this editorial about? Today's editorial is all about a message for Russia. Obviously, a message from the United Nations and a message related to the war, and focus more on talks. It's all about the editorial. Today, take it as Saturday special. You're not going to work on practice questions. You're going to We are going to spend time only on editorial analysis and, of course, editorial vocabulary. Now, let us go to editorial vocabulary and see what is there to learn from today's editorial. The very first word, spotlight. Spotlight has two different meanings. I'm sorry. Spotlight has two different meanings. One meaning, it goes with the film industry or shooting. A spot of light used to show up a particular area. It also goes with stage, theater, drama. A spot of light used to show up a particular area, person, or thing as on a stage. As I said, it goes with theater, drama, and also shooting, spotlight. Another meaning in this context, spotlight means public notice, public attention. Everyone talks about someone or something, then we say that particular person or that particular issue is in the spotlight. Another expression you have to recollect, to be in the limelight. Limelight also the same meaning. Very good, Yakub. The second word, abstention. You have got the word abstain, refrain, restrain, many a time, all these words. Abstention, noun. An instance of declining to vote for or against a proposal or motion. An instance of declining to vote, keeping away, refrain, abstain. From that, you get abstention, an important word. And immense, quite often I use this word, immense confidence. Immense means extremely large or great, especially in scale or degree. Part of speech, adjective. Please focus on the parts of speech. Probe. Probe can be a verb, can be a noun. Probe as a verb, it's a regular verb. But as a noun, same meaning. As a verb, same meaning. What does it mean? A thorough investigation into a crime or other matter. Probing. Sometimes what happens, some people they try to know a lot about others. Then we say probing nature. Probing nature is not good. This goes more with conversational English. Yes, you can say immense confidence, immense pleasure, typical combinations. Evade is a verb, means what? Escape or avoid someone or something, especially by guile or trickery, in a smart way. Summit has many meanings. It goes with mountaineering usually, but here in this context, summit, part of speech, noun, it means a meeting between heads of government. Derail, derailment is a noun form, derail is a verb. Usually it goes with trains. If you take a particular train, it has to go on tracks. Sometimes it goes off the track. Then we say the train has got derailed. But in this context, derail as a verb, it means obstruct a process by diverting it from its intended course. There's a particular course, either that course is obstructed or they try to deviate, then we use the expression derail. And the noun form derailment of the track. Fierce fighting, a typical combination. Part of speech, adjective. Having or displaying an intense or ferocious aggressiveness. Aggressive, ready to attack. Ferocious also means the same, always ready to attack. So fierce talks about the intensity, having or displaying an intense or ferocious aggressiveness. Attrition usually goes with jobs, job attrition, attrition at the workplace, company's attrition. gradually making something weaker and destroying it. But in this context, it has a different meaning. Attrition, noun, what does it mean? Gradually making something weaker and destroying it. Generally, attrition means leaving one company and going to another company. For that conversation English, we say job hopping, hop to jump, job hopping. But effective English, we use the word attrition. Bog down. Bog down actually it's a phrasal verb. It means bog means a place. The place is imagine loose sand, and if you get into that bog, it is full of loose sand, and the more you try to come out, the more you go down. But in this context, bog down means to get stuck, to prevent someone or something from moving on or progressing. In a way, to get stuck in something. Bog down, it's a phrasal verb. But your bog is a noun. Remember, it's a separate word. Conduct is a verb. Conduct is a noun. Conduct could be an adjective. Conduct certificate means what? The manner in which a person behaves, especially in a particular place or situation. Your conduct is quite impressive. Means what? The way you behaved is quite impressive. Cessation, part of speech, noun. The fact or process of ending or being brought to an end. There's another word, cease. Both mean the same. Hostilities, we have got many a time, hostile, hostile behavior, unfriendliness or opposition, antagonistic attitude, hostile. Cease, cessation, same meaning, but cease is a verb. Come or bring to an end. Bring something to an end, we use the word cease. A reputation, the beliefs or opinions that are generally held about someone or something. He has very good reputation. His reputation has taken a beating. That means his reputation has got spoiled. And when we think of reputation, we have to recollect three words. One is famous, then popular, then notorious. Famous means known to many people, neutral word, and popular, known to many people and liked by many people. Then we use the word popular. And notorious, known to many people but disliked by many people. Then we use the word notorious. Notorious has got a negative connotation. Usually it goes with smugglers, underworld gangs, the dons, negative connotation completely. Now let us go to the editorial. How does it start? A message for Russia. Now, if you are aware of what is going on, in touch with the latest developments, when I say latest developments, you have to recollect one particular expression. Keep abreast of the latest developments. Means what? Update yourself. So it is related to the war between the Ukraine and Russia, obviously. In that, against that background, against that backdrop, a message for Russia. Because Russia started the war, obviously it has to do something with Russia. A message for Russia. Easy to guess, but read the next sentence, then it becomes easy. Putin should take note of the views of the global community and end the war immediately. Putin should take note of the views of the global community. Should take note of, please take note of something, an important expression. The views of the global community and end the war immediately. This is a message. End the war and try to get involved in talks. End the war, the main message, a message for Russia. The suspension of Russia from the UN Human Rights Council has turned the global spotlight on the civilian killings in Ukraine. There's one important word, spotlight. In this context, it means something is in the limelight. Everyone talks about that particular incident. Then we say it is in the spotlight. What is in the spotlight? The civilian killings in Ukraine. Based on that, the suspension of Russia from the UN Human Rights Council has turned a particular act. What is the act? The suspension of Russia from which organization? From the UN Human Rights Council has turned the global spotlight, has turned present perfect tense, the global spotlight, the entire world. Now, the world is talking about civilian killings, brutal killings in Ukraine, has turned the global spotlight on the civilian killings in Ukraine. The US sponsored resolution in the UN General Assembly was approved by 93 votes against 24, with 58 abstentions that included India. India did not participate, did not vote. So this sentence talks about who backed or sponsored the resolution and how many votes in favor, how many votes against. The US, sponsored by the US. The US, in the past, it was a bipolar world, two superpowers, one the US, the other the USSR. After the disintegration of the USSR, today the world is more or less unipolar. Uni means only one superpower. Which one is that? The US. The US is also known as a big brother and also known as Uncle Sam. The US sponsored resolution in the UN General Assembly was approved. This is past tense passive voice by 93 votes against 24, with 58 abstentions that included India. 58 countries did not participate. They declined to participate or they abstained from participation or voting. And that 58, if you look at the number, India is also there with 58 abstentions. Abstention means what? Participation noun. An instance of declining to vote for or against a proposal or motion. Russia has faced immense criticism. Usually, the word immense has a positive connotation. I've given the typical combinations like immense confidence, immense pleasure, but here a negative combination. What is it? Immense means a lot, great, extremely large, or great. Russia has faced immense criticism after bodies were found in the streets of Bucha, a northern Ukrainian town. Why Russia has faced a lot of criticism, why now the spotlight has turned, everyone is talking about civilian killings in Ukraine. Russia has faced immense criticism after bodies were found in the streets of Bucha, a northern Ukrainian town, from from where Russian troops withdrew following the Istanbul talks. After the withdrawal of Russian troops, they found the dead bodies of civilians. Russia, but what is the stand taken by Russia? Russia says or Russia claims it to be staged events and fakes. Staged event, a put up event, make believe sort of a thing. Staged events and fakes, not real. While the truth should be established, now we don't know what exactly the truth is. The Ukraine says a lot of civilians have been killed brutally in a barbaric manner, and Russia says that is not true. Those are all fake deaths, they are fakes, not real. Based on that, while the truth should be established in an independent UN monitored probe, there is no doubt that civilians were targeted. If you take that particular town, Butcher, to what extent it was real, that's a different thing. But no one can deny the fact that ever since the war started, a lot of civilians were targeted. This sentence talks about that. While the truth should be established in an independent UN monitored probe, probe means investigation. Usually it goes with police and investigation by the police. There is no doubt that civilians were targeted. No second thoughts about that. According to how to substantiate that statement that civilians were targeted. Next sentence talks about that. According to the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights, at least 1,611 civilians have been killed and 2,227 injured in Ukraine since the war began. Here, since the war began, that's an important clause. And whenever you see the preposition since or for, think of two tenses. One is present perfect, the other one present perfect continuous. Here, it is in present perfect, but passive voice have been killed. And one more thing very important over here, there are two clauses have been killed and injured. If the same verb can be used, then you don't have to repeat. Here, civilians, plural, have been killed. Here, many people, plural, have been killed. But in the second clause, if it is a singular, then you have to mention the verb. Based on this, in many exams, they have given questions. Under pressure, not easy. Under pressure, not easy. So Russia cannot evade means what? Escape or avoid. Its responsibility for these losses. They cannot say no, they cannot escape about when it comes to these losses. When Russia began the invasion, President Vladimir Putin had said the main objectives of what he called the special military operation were the demilitarization and denazification. This is a term that goes with Nazis. Denazification of Ukraine. The main objectives. Considering the three front war Russia launched, multi pronged, and you have to recollect the expression multi pronged. But in this context, three. Considering the three front war Russia launched, it was evident that Moscow wanted to meet its real objectives, whatever they were, quickly. They wanted to meet the objectives quickly, but it hasn't happened. Still, the war is on. But Ukraine's fierce resistance, fierce means having or displaying an intense or ferocious aggressiveness. But Ukraine's fierce resistance, especially in the north, has changed the course of the conflict, which now looks like a war of attrition, focusing on Ukraine's east. There is one important word, attrition. Usually it goes with the corporate sector, especially IT industry. But in this what does it mean? Job hopping, going from one company to another company, attrition. But in this context, what does it mean? Gradually making something weaker and destroying it. The second part of the editorial, it focuses more on ending the war because of the impact. Now, both Ukraine and Russia are in difficult situations. War is always, it is not something positive, it is something negative, and both the parties get badly affected. The impact is going to be negative. Based on that, now both Ukraine and Russia, again, grammar point of view, you have to, whenever you come across the word both, you got to be alert. And a common error, a lot of people tend to say both as well as, that is not correct. We have to say both and. This is the right combination. Both as well as not the correct combination. They have given in many exams. Now, both Ukraine and Russia are in difficult situations. The Ukrainians, with the military and financial aid from the West, have pushed back in the north. In the north, they were successful, but lost territories in the east and the south. Two areas they lost, and one they could win. Given the power imbalance, it is unlikely that Ukraine can regain the lost territories. The Ukraine has lost territories in the east and the south. Looking at the power imbalance, Russia very strong, obviously. Based on that, given or looking at the power imbalance, it is unlikely that Ukraine can regain their lost territories. Chances are very bleak. Russia now seems to have been bogged down, an important expression, to prevent someone or something from moving on or progressing, to get stuck in a way. Russia now seems to have been bogged down in the battlefield. It got stuck in the battlefield with international criticism mounting on its war conduct, behavior. Conduct is a verb to execute something, but conduct, it is a different, the meaning is entirely different. The manner in which a person behaves. In this context, a country war conduct. What is in the best interest of all parties is a cessation of hostilities and a diplomatic solution. So, what is a solution? Both the countries are in trouble. In the best interest of all parties, that is also an important expression. In the best interest of all parties, what is good? Cessation of hostilities. Cessation means the fact or process of ending or being brought to an end. Cease. Hostilities, hostile behavior, unfriendliness. You can also think of the word antagonistic behavior. The Istanbul talks had opened a path towards peace. According to the Ukrainian proposals, President Zelensky has agreed to accept neutrality in return for multilateral security assurances. He is also ready for a consultation period of 15 years for Crimea, which Russia annexed in 2014, and discuss the status of the self declared Donetsk and Luhansk republics in a summit with Mr. Putin. Here, summit means a meeting between heads of government. Now, how does the editorial end? It was after these proposals that The Russians announced their pullback from the north, but the Bucha killings appear to have clouded the peace process. The investigation into the civilian killings should go on in parallel and not derail the diplomatic process. On the one hand, the probe or the investigation should go on, and at the same time, it should not derail the diplomatic process, derail, go off their track, or prevent something from progressing. Russia should follow up on its words with more demonstrable actions to end the hostilities. The war has damaged its economy and its reputation as a great power. Negative impact on Russia as well. The war has damaged its economy. Russia is in deep trouble right now. And its reputation, reputation means what? The beliefs or opinions that are generally held about someone or something as a superpower. Reputation as a great power while causing unspeakable losses and destruction in Ukraine. Both the countries got received a negative impact. How does the editorial end? The most important message from the UN body. This is editorial is all about message for Russia. The most important message from the UN body to Moscow is that it should cease, stop, or bring to an end the fire and take the path of diplomacy immediately. Stop the war and take the path of diplomacy immediately. That is the message for Russia. Let us go to questions based on comprehension from this editorial. What is this editorial about? What has turned the global spotlight on the civilian killings in Ukraine? So many key words, easy to locate and write the answer. How many civilians have been killed and injured in Ukraine since the war began? Again, it is a question based on data. You have to navigate, locate, easy to answer. What were the main objectives of the special military operation? What appear to have clouded the here it should have been what appears to have clouded the peace process? Something has clouded the peace process, and it seems looks like what appears to have clouded the peace process. Please download my app, Murthy's English. These are the features and these are the courses. English course for bank exams. Today also there's a demo, reading comprehension skill related and vocabulary related. English course, there's a demo in the evening. Bank exams, morning. Descriptive English, spoken English course. Now let us go to editorial vocabulary. Pushback means they could send Russian soldiers back out of the country. Push back. Imagine Russian soldiers entered the territory of the Ukraine. Then the Ukrainian soldiers pushed back Russian soldiers. Means Russian soldiers could not take control of that particular area or region or territory. Spotlight, part of speech, noun. What does it mean? Spotlight. You can also think of limelight, public notice. Yes, that's right. To be, everyone talks about that. Abstention. Remember the word abstain, refrain, restrain, all related words. And abstention, part of speech, noun, means what? Second one, to abstain from. Yes. Probe can be a noun, can be a verb. It is a regular verb. Probe means what? Investigation in a way, thorough investigation, not casual, thorough investigation. Evade, part of speech verb, it's a regular verb. All that you have to do, download the app, then you'll be able to watch. You don't have to buy the course to watch the demo, how to crack bank exams, morning 10 o'clock, how to crack SSC exams, evening 6:30. All that you have to do, download the app Murthy's English. That's it. After that, nothing, no need to do anything. You will be able to watch and you will get the notification. Part of speech, Verb, what does it mean? Escape or avoid in a smart way. Summit, usually it goes with mountaineering, but in this context, meeting between heads of different countries. Derail, verb, derailment, noun. What does it mean? Obstruct by diverting it, go off the track. Bog down, prevent from progressing, to get stuck. Phrasal verb, to get stuck. Bog. Conduct means behavior, part of speech, noun. Conduct, verb. Conduct, noun. It can be an adjective. Now you cannot see at the time of 10 o'clock, you will get, you can access the video. Conduct means what? Manner, the way one behaves, manner in which a person behaves. G is the answer. Hostilities, part of speech, noun. Hostile, unfriendliness. Cease, verb. Come to an end or bring to an end. B is the answer. That's all for today. No practice questions. Usually I don't take on Saturdays, only Monday to Friday, the editorial analysis. But today I wanted to take and only the editorial analysis. Have a nice day. Have a nice weekend. And Sunday, someone is asking, the Hindu does not publish the editorials on Sundays. So Sundays, no editorial as such. You can't expect an editorial on Sundays. I will see you guys on Monday. Have a nice weekend. And do remember to subscribe and share. Join the Telegram group. All that you have to do after the session, go to the description of the video and click on the link. I'll provide the PDF